Hello guys, this video will show you how to solve this topological issue right here. I got these images and someone wants to know how you can solve this.
But real quick guys, if you're looking for what I consider to be the best 3D modeling tutorial on the internet, I recommend checking out my Udemy course. It's got tutorials on Blender, 3ds Max, CAD programs such as Plasticity and Moai 3D, and a lot of ZBrush as well. So if you want to master a variety of programs to really bring your skills up to the next level and master 3ds Max, Blender, ZBrush, and Plasticity, be sure to check out that course. Link is in the description. Let's continue.
So we've got kind of several issues happening here. The first thing is we have these little triangles. We have these little edges forming triangles. So unless you're creating a low poly asset, you should always avoid triangles, especially if you can avoid it. Maybe you can get away with triangles on some parts, maybe on like maybe characters where the distortion would be noticeable, guys. Where something like this, the simpler design is, guys, the less you get away with triangles. To show an example, you know, let's say I were to make a plane, and let's say I were to select this, move this up. Well, I'll give this a darker object color. Alright, so let's say I have this. Let me make this a little bit smaller here. Alright. And let's say I turbo smooth this. Alright. You notice it looks like this. And then if I turbo smooth this, but let's say I add a single triangle here by doing this, you notice there's a very noticeable bump happening right here. It may not be visible at all angles. You can definitely see there's a greater visibility right here, and you can definitely see it's causing some distortion right here. Right, but let's say that I have a very dense mesh here, and then I do this right here, right? So now we got a lot of triangles happening here, right? But it will be less noticeable just because there's already more density there. So sometimes, guys, it's harder to see distortions on a video, but it's barely anything noticeable right here, whereas here it is much more noticeable, and definitely is more noticeable on the cylinder. So let's go ahead and actually show you. It looks to be a cylinder, so I'll show you on that. Alright, let's go ahead and rotate it. Alright. Let's go ahead and just bridge that. Alright. So, I'll go ahead and select this. And I'll go ahead and give this a crease of 1. I'll go ahead and let's say use open subdiv. Alright. And for this one, I will add a triangle by just connecting these points. Alright, you're noticing some serious distortion happening here because of that triangle, whereas here, no distortion. Alright, so that's the first tip I have for you guys, is just try to avoid triangles if you can. Tip number 2, use open subdiv as opposed to support loops. And number 3, when you have a curved surface like this, do not have edges too close together, otherwise they will create a result that you don't want. It'll be too sharp or distort in some areas. And tip number 4 is the good old usual tip, just to have more geometry there in the first place. Right? So, you know, the way a loop works is that once you insert that there, it's going to automatically sharpen that up. So the closer you have the edge, the more sharp it will become. And so definitely, guys, on a cylinder, you want to go ahead and avoid that as much as possible. So whenever you're modeling, guys, it is a fine line between making it as simple as you can, but also having enough density to support the details you want. So this situation right here, guys, where you're trying to use support loops and trying to go in different directions, I always recommend using creases and open subdiv, and just enough density. So a quick note about managing density. If all I wanted to do was to select something like this and extrude it out, then this topology could support that. I'll go ahead and clear the creases. I'll go ahead and do a crease set. I'll increase that to, because I want these edges as well. We'll go ahead and set it to be 0.2. And as you can see, I may also want to add just a loop right there. After adding a loop, you want to go ahead and reset that up. Right click, update. As you can see, guys, because of the simple extrusion here, I did not need to add a lot more density here. Right, so this would be the bare minimum. If I was trying to do this same detail with like 10 sides or 8, it would not work. And there wouldn't be enough polygons to select. However, if you want to go ahead and create more detail, then you want to go ahead and increase the density. And the way you would do that is by selecting it, you know, updating it, or you don't even have to use crease set, guys. You can also just do things manually by just selecting the proper edges, giving them a crease. But crease set, guys, allows you to have more control, especially of a complex object. Then after setting it up, you go and set up open subdiv, 1 or 2 levels depending on how much you need. And then I like to apply smooth on top to clear the smoothing and add a poly. And now you have a lot more to play with. Now you can have a very fine detail here. And now you also have more control about where it takes place, because if you try and extrude right here, guys, notice, I mean, we can do this, or we can do that, or we can do this, right? We have a limit of how much we can do. And it looks like in this example, guys, the person tried to, you know, extrude inset like that, but now we have even worse problems happening here. Now we have this vertex with 5 edges coming out, and we have kind of imperfect topology on the side right here. What's going to happen to him, guys, is that when it subdivides, it wants to go ahead and kind of go this way as opposed to go around the way it's supposed to. So this would also become disastrous. So if I were to go ahead and recrease this, you notice we're getting distortion happening here. But let's say I was to extrude that. Okay. I mean, you notice this is happening here, right? This strange thing. And that is, of course, because if we look at what the crease set is doing, let's say, for example, select it. It's trying to maintain a sharpness right here with this edge, but these polygons are still trying to, you know, kind of follow each other and subdivide like that. So this is just a bad idea, which is why I want to go ahead and go with the more density option right here. This gives you much more fine control over where you extrude from. And we don't have to rely on inset. We can just go ahead and, you know, get the exact result that we want. Now, having more density, of course, does make things more complex because you have to just work with more polygons, but it definitely allows you to create more fine-tuned detail, finer detail much more easily, without having to worry about the topology. And if you're doing some quick freeform modeling, it just gives you a lot of fun options for creating all sorts of little designs here and extra quick details. Thank you guys for watching and take care.